What's up, YouTube? This is your boy Nick here, and as you guys can tell by my voice, I am feeling a lot better. That's because if you guys have not been aware, I was sick for the last couple weeks. I had a really bad cold. Hopefully, that will never happen again. And with that in mind, tonight I'm going to be doing my predictions anyway for the Raw Exclusive Pay-Per-View PayBack, in which we would like to send a special thanks to Papa Roach for Born for Greatness, the official PayBack theme song off the album Crooked Teeth, available May 19th. And so, alright, so we're gonna kick things off with the kickoff show. We have two major events. We have a edition, a segment of Miz TV, if you will, as the Miz's special guest will be Finn Balor. Now, of course, knowing the Miz, all he'll do is just talk about himself, talk about how Finn Balor is not great and yada yada yada, just a bunch of talk. And from there we move on to the first match of the night. It will be Enzo and Cass taking on Anderson and Gallows. Now, of course, the whole thing basically started this past Monday on Raw, where it was a 6-man tag team match between Anderson and Gallows and Samoa Joe, as they were supposed to take on Seth Rollins and Enzo and Cass. Unfortunately, Enzo Amore got eliminated from the match, so Kurt Angle had said, you know what, Finn Balor's going to join. So Finn Balor joined, and of course, Finn Balor, Big Cass, and Seth Rollins won the match, and that leads to this Sunday. Honestly, that's, you know what, it's a no-brainer. Anderson and Gallows, because they've said it before many times in the past. They're all about two things: being mean, making green, and Anderson and Gallows. Ever since they lost the Raw tag titles, they've been on a roll. So I'm going with Anderson and Gallows. Alright, guys, and now we move on to a one-on-one match that's been months in the making, as Roman Reigns, for the first time since his victory over the Undertaker at WrestleMania, will face Braun Strowman. This whole thing basically started back at the Royal Rumble this past January, where Roman Reigns was in a Universal title match against Kevin Owens in I believe it was a no disqualification match, or maybe it was like a false count anywhere or something like that. I'll have to check my past. Yes, I actually write down all of my stuff on a book, so okay, so yes, okay, alright, so I was correct. I was correct. It was in a no disqualification match, and of course, Braun Strowman got involved and caused Roman Reigns the championship. That led to a match between those two at Fastlane, and yes, Braun Strowman told Roman that victory was luck. Honestly, I highly doubt it was lucky. I highly doubt it. But yes. And then of course that led to a couple of matches before Roman Reigns had to face the Undertaker at WrestleMania, and I think both times Braun Strowman won. I'm not really sure. And then of course a couple of weeks ago on Raw, Braun Strowman took out Roman Reigns, and then, well, we all know what happened there, and that leads us to this Sunday. You know what? I'm gonna have to go with Braun Strowman on this one, only because of the fact that despite the fact that he lost to Kalisto this past Monday on Raw in that dumpster match, I still think that I still think that that Roman Reigns is way in over his head, especially Kurt Angle. I think he was way in on, with all due respect to Kurt Angle, I think he was way in over his head in putting Roman Reigns in this match, considering Roman's state, both mentally and physically. So, but yes, I am going with Braun Strowman. Alright guys, now we move on to the first of 5 title matches that we have on the card. The first one will be for the Raw Women's Championship as Bayley defends the title against Raw's newest acquisition, 5 Feet of Fury, Alexa Bliss. You know what? I'm gonna have to go with Bayley on this one. Because with Sasha Banks by her side, I think Bayley can do it. But of course, Bayley proved to the WWE Universe at WrestleMania that she can do it on her own. She even proved that at Fastlane, despite having Sasha's help. I think Bayley can still do it. Alright guys, from there we move on to a match that many people did not expect to see. It will be the Samoan Submission Machine, the Destroyer, Samoa Joe, taking on the Kingslayer, Seth Rollins. Now the whole thing started when a few years ago, during Seth Rollins' days in NXT, where he defeated Jinder Mahal to become the first ever NXT champion. He then formed the Shield during their days in NXT. Of course, Ambrose and Reigns. During their days in NXT, they were known. They had formed the Shield. So during that time, Seth Rollins ended up losing the NXT Championship to Big E, who was part of the New Day. And they put the Shield involving in that triple threat main event for the WWE title at Survivor Series in 2012, as Punk defended the title against John Cena and Ryback. And of course that night the Shield took out both John Cena and Ryback, allowing Punk to capitalize and retain the championship at the time. And then of course that led to Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns being tag team champions, Dean Ambrose being the longest reigning U.S. champion in history, and that led to basically what happened the night after Payback in 2014, 3 years ago. Of course, that night, on that night, Batista had quit for the second time, and Seth Rollins turned his back on Ambrose and Reigns. That led to Ambrose, his dark side, his vicious side, comes out and starts saying that he's gonna kick his ass. And the same thing with Reigns. So all 3 members of the Shield went their separate ways. Seth Rollins ended up winning Money in the Bank, cashing in Money in the Bank at WrestleMania 31. Still being a part of the Authority, and of course, when Rollins was out with an injury, he was no longer under the power of the Authority. He was doing his own thing, and he had the mantra of redesign, rebuild, reclaim. It took me a while to figure it out, but I know exactly what he meant. He was redesigning his image, rebuilding his career, and he wanted to reclaim what was his, and that was the championship. So now it's the Royal Rumble this past January, and he's out. He invaded NXT TakeOver Dallas, I believe. No, NXT TakeOver San Antonio is what it was. He invaded NXT, and he was forced out of the building. All because Sami Zayn defeated Seth Rollins to earn a spot in the Royal Rumble match. That led to Seth Rollins saying that he will be at WrestleMania, despite his knee injury, and he defeated Triple H, which gave him the nickname the Kingslayer. And now we are at this Sunday. You know what? Honestly, both of these superstars are highly gifted. There is no doubt about it. But with the role that Seth Rollins been going since he defeated Triple H, I think that this match is inevitable to say who would win. So, but honestly, I'm going with obviously the Kingslayer, Seth Rollins. Alright, guys. Now we move on to a SmackDown, to the first of two Raw versus SmackDown title matches. The first one is for the WWE Championship, as Randy Orton invades Raw, a Raw pay-per-view, to defend the championship against Bray Wyatt in a House of Horrors match. Honestly, I know nothing of what a House of Horrors match is. However, I believe it's going to start somewhere in a house or whatever. I don't even know, and it'll probably end in the ring. That's just my assumption. But again, I know nothing about the whole House of Horrors match thing. I know nothing about it. But in any event, here's the caveat for it. If Bray Wyatt wins the championship, he goes back to SmackDown Live. That's just that's what my sources have told me. But in any event, I'm going with Wyatt on this one, because honestly, Bray Wyatt is probably one of the most dangerous superstars we've had in the last 6 years, 7 years maybe. So so I'm going with Bray Wyatt on this one. Alright, guys, now we move on to the Raw Tag Team titles, as the Hardys. Yes, their second title defense. They'll be defending the Raw Tag Team titles against Sheamus and Cesaro. This is a dream match, to be brutally honest. This is like a huge dream match. But for me, Hardys all the way, no doubt. Because they are one of the most highly gifted tag teams since the Rock and Roll Express. Literally, the Hardys are like a combination of they're like a combination of Demolition and the Rockers. Of course, the Rockers being Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. With power and speed combined, I think the Hardys can retain their tag titles. Alright, guys, now we move on to the Cruiserweight division as part of 205 Live, as Neville, the King of the Cruiserweights, will be defending the Cruiserweight title against Austin Aries, and this will be their second encounter for the Cruiserweight title. The first one was at WrestleMania, and of course Austin Aries had the match won, but Neville cheated his way to a victory. Honestly, this is probably by far one of the most oddest matches I've ever predicted, but I'm gonna go with Neville. Only because he's a little more quicker than Austin Aries, but on the other hand, Austin Aries is more smart than Neville. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Neville on this one. Alright, guys, now we move on to our final championship match, and this is actually the last match we have on the card. It is for the United States Championship, as Kevin Owens, much like Randy Orton, will invade a Raw pay-per-view to defend the United States title against Chris Jericho. And of course, with the WWE title, the caveat for this match is if Jericho wins, his talents will go to SmackDown Live. Honestly, this is a match I can't call because both of these superstars are highly gifted. It's no doubt about it. They've encountered each other a couple times in the past prior to their friendship, if you will. Yeah. This is a match I can't really call. But if I really had to pick, I would have to say Jericho. Only because Jericho has been in the professional wrestling business longer than Kevin Owens. Because believe it or not, Jericho has been in all three companies. He's been in WWE, he's been in WCW, and he's been a part of ECW as well. Of course, with WCW and ECW, it was only for like a few years. But still, yes, Jericho was once a part of both WCW and ECW. So you have to think, what would Jericho's strategy be going into this match, knowing that he lost the championship to Owens at WrestleMania? Alright, well that is it for the Payback predictions. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed the content. And remember to post comments below on your predictions for these matches. And remember to subscribe and bell me for more WWE and YuGiOh opening videos. And on that, this is your boy Nick here signing out.